You've been seeing the headlines everywhere, right? Florida real estate market crash. The bottom is falling out in the Palm Beach County housing market. It's enough to make any buyer or seller in Palm Beach County nervous. But what's really going on? In this video, we're going to dive into the latest Palm Beach County real estate market statistics and uncover the truth behind those sensational headlines. We're going to look at the data, not just the fear, and I'm going to show you why a lot of the numbers the media is looking at don't tell the whole story. Stay tuned so you can find out what the real numbers mean for you, whether you're buying or selling. Sure, I can ask you to like and subscribe to this video, but honestly, I'd much rather you just pick up the phone and call me. My phone number is 786-443-7203. If I don't answer, it's probably because I just think you're a spam caller and I don't know who you are, so leave a message and I'll get right back to you. You can text me if you want. You can email me if you want. All my contact information is below. Let's get into the data. All right, folks. Hope everybody had a good month. Let's get right into it. Median sold pricing. Look, as we've been talking about, all the media keeps saying housing prices are crashing in Florida. Everything's going wrong. This is terrible. Not so. Not so. Look at here. Median pricing been pretty much level the last 2-3 years, right? I don't want you to focus too much on this. Once you give me an area that you're looking in and we can start to hone things down, this can become a bit more relevant. But in the grand scheme of things for Palm Beach County, because there's such a wide dichotomy of real estate, I don't really think it adds much value. But I look at median pricing because a lot of people ask me about it. So here's the figure. Going from a figure that I don't feel is that relevant to one that I feel is due: sold listings. Number of properties that actually sold last month. Not a whole lot more important than that, right? Now, you may be looking at this chart and saying a couple of things. Wow, this looks really disorganized. First. Second, you may be saying, wow, prices are heading down. Here's what I keep pointing out to everybody. Here we are. May, June. We head down to January. May. We head down to January. We rebound. May. We head down. We're not surprised that the total number of transactions was down last month. We are happy that it's not a precipitous decline, right? We don't, want this straight line in down direction right now and push us below this low sale number. Hopefully we don't approach that too quickly because we've got a few months to go before we should hit it. But look, we have seasonality here in Palm Beach County. You need to use this to your advantage when you're buying and when you're selling. When you're buying, right now, there's not a whole lot of people buying comparatively, right? Total number of sales goes down. Even though these sales bottom out in January, contracts are probably 30 and 60 days before. So you look at buying activity that picks up November, December. Contract starts to close in January, reverse direction. Happens every year. So if you're a buyer, look down at the calendar here. I'm looking at it. We're in middle of August. You have a couple months left where you can be one of few people looking at properties, and you can, in my opinion, typically get a better deal than you can as we go late into season, right? So keep this in mind. Sellers, flip side of things. If you call me now and tell me, Casey, I want to list my property tomorrow, unless there's an absolute reason that you need to list it tomorrow, or unless you're in a pocket that has that price point and in that neighborhood selling rather briskly, we're probably going to look at the data and it's probably going to look like you shouldn't list right now. You should probably wait a couple months. Don't get me wrong, we need to have the conversation now, organize everything, get it squared away. But this is how we use seasonality to your advantage, not to your disadvantage, right? All right, let's move on. Sold to list price. This is the price a home sold for relative to its original listing price. If there were price reductions, this doesn't get added in. This is pegged to the original listing price. Let's just use 95%, 96%. Sure, let's round up. Look, if you're a seller, you're going to have to negotiate 4 or 5% off purchase price on average here. I don't think that's unrealistic. I don't think that's wild given this market. I'm actually seeing and getting people deals that are in excess of this. So again, it's going to depend on the neighborhood that you're in, how many transactions are happening around that area. But if you're a seller, what I also want you to take from this is you have to have some flexibility in your pricing. You cannot just say, I'm listing it and I refuse to negotiate. When I see that on listings, I think, first of all, as an agent with a buyer, if I see that on a listing, I'm going to relay that to the buyer. 9 times out of 10, the buyers are kind of like, I don't know, these people seem a little impossible. I'm not crazy about this house. Let's skip it. That's the honest result there. So just understand, if you're a seller, you need to go negotiate a little bit. If you're a buyer, don't go firing offers 15, 20% off listing price. That's not the market we're in either. Save a few very small pockets of the market. Let's move on. Median days on market, 51 days. What does this number represent? All right, so this represents how many days you are actively listed on the market. This includes the time it went from active to pending, not pending to closed sale. So if you're a seller and you're trying to figure out how many days until money appears in my bank account, you're going to have to add on 30, 45 days to this number, right? That's more realistic. I do put a big focus on median days. I think it's, numbers of properties sold, median days on market, and months of inventory. Those are my stats. That's what I'm going to look at when I'm looking at how healthy one of the individual towns within Palm Beach County or property type or anything else is. Just give me those 3 stats. So look, 51 days on market. Here's what a buyer looks at. Buyer looks at, hey, we're in the middle of August. I saw something in July. It's still on the market. I don't have a whole lot of pressure to make an offer immediately. Because a lot of the stuff I saw is still on the market, right? If you're a seller, I just think it's a good timeline thing. If you're 60, 70 days into a listing, don't get that antsy. Again, it's going to depend. Look, price bracket depends a lot on this. If you come to me and you give me a price bracket that you're looking to buy or sell in, and the neighborhood and everything else, we're going to tighten this up. Because median days look a lot different in a lot of different areas of Palm Beach County. This is just a broad overview to kind of give you guys a general feel of where the market is. Before I continue, if you are thinking about buying or selling real estate in Palm Beach County, call, text, or email me. I'd love to chat with you. That's what I do. This is how the bulk of my business comes into me. And I've greatly enjoyed meeting people that find me on YouTube, especially the ones that are following the stats and are kind of a numbers geek like me. Look, call, text, or email me sooner rather than later. And let's start talking some real estate together, all right? Median price per square foot. Going to glaze over this one real quickly, just like median sold price. Don't find that much value in it. If you tell me you want to spend $340 a square foot to be beachfront, not going to have a whole lot to talk about. That's why I just don't find a lot of value in this, honestly. Look, what the market is doing and what my opinion is and has been over the last 2 or 3 years is median price is probably a little bit higher because the stuff in good condition is selling, right? That's what people want. If you've got the beat up stuff, the outdated stuff, buyers are really looking to discount that. If you can even get them into the place, because I'm going to be honest, it's a fight to get people into units that aren't presented well from the start right now. So look, sellers, this is my plea to, if you talk with me and I tell you, look, we got to do some upgrades, we got to freshen it up. Please understand why I'm saying it. It's because this stuff is selling at a higher price per square foot because it is in better condition. All right, total dollar volume. Look, I'm going to illustrate right now why I don't really put a lot of stock in this. There was a $50 million sale that took place in Palm Beach County last month. If you take that sale and just the 4 other top sales in Palm Beach County, they accounted for $100 million in volume. So I know that it looks like a big number that, $1 billion transacted, and you look at it and you say, wow, this is really coming down. First of all, it comes down every year. Not a surprise. This gets into seasonality. But again, the reason I tell people not to focus on this is, so 5 transactions made up 10% of this volume out of over 1,000 transactions. It's just so skewed here. Look, you can glance at it quickly, but that's about all I'm going to give it. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, we've arrived at the final slide, my favorite 1 month supply of inventory. Here we are, very small change, 12-month change, up less than 1%, right? Just over 0.5%. 5.11 months of supply. What does supply represent? If the current number of sales on a monthly basis stayed the same, it would take 5.11 months to eat up all of the inventory for sales. So two things change it. Increase or decrease in the number of sales, increase or decrease in the number of total listings. Here's what, in my opinion, look, we started curling down here and I noted this. If you look back at my videos, I was saying this is a change that's coming up, and it felt like it. It's felt like the last couple of months, things are getting tighter for buyers. I know this isn't what the media is saying, but I'm telling you, just doing it every day, it's starting to feel tighter for buyers. I'm starting to see properties that were stale and hadn't sold come off the market. Some selling, some just coming off the market and not going back on. And don't get me wrong, that's another thing that's happening in this marketplace. I said this last month too. Some people are just pulling their listings and saying, nah, I'm going to wait the market out. I don't want to sell right now. Take a little time and see where the market goes. We don't have a lot of distress down here in Palm Beach County. Unless you're really pressured to sell and you have a price in your mind and you're not getting it, you don't want to adjust that price, pull it off the market. Market's going to get better. No doubt about it in my mind. No doubt about it. Listen, we're saddled between Oceans and Everglades in Palm Beach County. We only have so many lots where you can build houses on. We're down to less than 1% of those lots even being vacant where you can build a new house. So if we have this fixed geographic area and quite honestly, little to no leverage out there as far as debt goes, unless you bought in the last 2 or 3 years, you're pretty rich in equity. Just not a whole lot of distress in the market. Not a whole lot of ways you're going to convince me that we're plummeting in prices. Just not buying it. Look, anyways, here's my point. If this line keeps coming down, this gets more and more difficult for buyers and it favors sellers. So I really want to keep an eye on this. Again, I think if we come down a couple months on supply, this is going to be a very tight late fourth quarter, early first quarter for buyers to be in the market. So keep an eye on it for you guys. Listen, call me 786-443-7203. Don't be shy. Text me if you want. You can email me if you want. I'll put a contact form down here in the description if you want to click it, read the rest of my blog, contact me on my website, however you want to get in touch with me. Let's start a conversation. Don't be shy. Ask me questions about real estate. Happy to answer them. And hey, if you're in Jupiter, let's grab a coffee or a cocktail. Your call. Take care, guys. We'll see you next month.